The beat-em-up genre in the arcades can often be thought of as bland or repetitive. This is often based upon having simple controls, extremely light mechanics, or lack of differences in characters. A few that come to mind are The Simpsons Arcade, Double Dragon, heck, even Turtles in Time somewhat suffers from this. Alien vs Predator takes that theory and not only breaks it, but smashes it to smithereens. Alien vs Predator was brought to you by Capcom in 1994 and uses the CPS2 arcade hardware that a ton of great games were released, like X-Men vs Street Fighter, Super Turbo, Pro Gear, and the Dungeons & Dragons beat-em-ups, to name a few. When you have a powerhouse of titles using that hardware, you'd hope that Alien vs Predator shares the same fate. The gameplay throws you into a typical beat-em-up fashion. You'll go up against hordes of enemies and, well, beat them up to progress. What separates Alien vs Predator from the rest is the amount of enemies on screen at any given time. Just look at the footage and see how many things are moving around with no noticeable slowdown. You can also pick up knives, an assortment of guns, grenades, flamethrowers, and even grenade launchers. You'll get to play as one of 4 characters. The Predator Warrior, who is the most well balanced of the bunch. He's got an extendable retractable spear as his main weapon and can use his shoulder-mounted energy weapon. The Predator Hunter, who plays similarly to the Warrior but lacks the quick recovery and the high priority of many of his attacks. However, he does compensate with having a more damaging jumping dive attack. Then there's the human cyborgs. First we have Major Dutch, who's named after and based off of Arnold Schwarzenegger's character from the Predator movie. He's actually a cyborg in this and has a cybernetic arm with a smart gun mounted to it. His attacks are powerful but slow. It kind of reminds me of Hagar from the Final Fight games. Then we have Lieutenant Lin Kurosawa, who uses a handgun and katana as weapons and can execute several martial arts attacks. She's much faster and more agile than Dutch, but obviously less powerful. You can play with anywhere from 1 to 3 characters at the same time. Button 1 is used for attack, button 2 is used for motion, and button 3 is how you use your weapon. But beyond the character's stats, each of the characters just plays so differently with a different melee weapon, differences in range and movesets, so there's a ton of replayability in Alien vs Predator. The sprites are big and colorful, the backgrounds feature a bunch of different pixel art to feast your eyes. The backgrounds fit the dark and sci-fi theme quite well. As you make your way throughout the 7 stages of the game, you'll be immediately thrown into the mix of hordes of alien grunts. Each of the levels gets more and more crazy as you make your way throughout each of the stages. This leads up to the final boss with the alien queen. Just watch her rip this guy in half. Ouch! Check out the Mad Predator that has some really interesting things going on. He's also extremely tricky and provides some cool looking animations. It gives me the sense of Rolento from the Final Fight arcade game where he stands on the ledge and throws grenades at you. Alien vs Predator also has a great sense of pacing to go along with the visuals, sound, and gameplay. I never felt that any of the bosses dragged on or any of the levels gave you the sense that you'll never progress. I skipped a lot of the dialogue during the playthrough. Just be careful if any dialogue comes up and you want to see what's happening in between stages. But basically, to sum it up, a place in California was overrun by aliens, then the cyborg crew is abandoned by their team and cornered by alien drones. Before they get killed, the 2 predators then show up and destroy the aliens to team up with the cyborgs. They then set out to kill the alien hive and then find out that the aliens are actually on the Earth. In the end, the Earth is destroyed, a military ship is set on course, it causes it to crash, destroying the aliens, and basically taking out a large portion of the western United States. I mean, talk about a sad storyline for humanity, but yeah, it's a beat-em-up, so most of them aren't really played for the storyline. This isn't Chrono Trigger we're playing here, it's Alien vs Predator for crying out loud. Did you know that the original Alien vs Predator arcade game was one of the first video games to combine elements from 2 separate non-related film franchises into a single game? I will also say that this is one of the best, if not the best, beat-em-ups on the arcade thanks to Capcom's genius design, great controls, and amazing gameplay. It's just too bad that this is still only available on the arcade and it's never been ported to any home consoles. Come on, Capcom, give us something. Put it on the PS5, Steam, Xbox. I mean, I'll take anything at this point. There are always unofficial ways to play this with a friend, like on Fightcade, but yeah, I would prefer having an official way to grab a copy. So, if you haven't given Alien vs Predator a go yet, what are you waiting for? I'm the Retro Kingpin, thanks for watching.